Hello everyone, my name is Zenitsu and I'm back with another Buddy Fight video. So today I'm going to be talking about another really broken card in the game, probably one that should be banned, but basically I'm talking about another game-changing card on a similar vein of future Card Buddyfight. And that card is 4th Omni Lord Burn Nova Rebi. So Burn Nova Rebi is a very powerful and game-changing card. And for a lot of decks that can run him, and believe me, a lot of decks can run him, he is just a very devastating card to go up against. First off, what is the card even doing that's making him so powerful? So his first keyword that he has is Omnilord. So that means he could basically be ran in every single world as a one of, except Ancient World you could run 4 of him, because that's his own native world. So this potentially means that a whole lot of decks could try to run him as a one-of, and with how consistent Buddyfight is as a game, it's not necessarily that hard to figure out ways of playing him from basically any zone in the game. Even as a one-of, he's still a very powerful and game-demanding card for a lot of decks. But what's really powerful, and the fact that a lot of decks want to use this card, is his counteract ability. So for the low cost of paying his call cost and discarding your whole hand, you basically don't get to lose for the turn. So all of your monsters can't leave the field, can't be destroyed by attacks, and you can't take damage. So all 3 of those basically say you can't lose in the game normally. Now you could still lose to alternate win conditions, but that's beside the point. And then on top of that, he also makes it so it's very hard for the opponent to interact with your cards for not only the turn that he's played, but for the next preceding turn. So usually you'll play him on the opponent's turn, and then your opponent won't be able to interact with your cards during your turn when you're trying to, kill them. So he makes it very hard to interact with, on top of the fact that you're already probably not losing just by playing the card. So that's just really powerful because it effectively buys you an extra turn, and extra turn cards, as we have seen through Bushi's ban lists, that extra turn cards are very powerful. And then, just to make matters worse, he even has a penetrate, triple attack with 4 crit and really high power and defense. So he is just one beast of a card. Going into why he's powerful, obviously not being able to lose the game except for by alternate win conditions, and not having the opponent be able to interact with your stuff is the main reason why a lot of decks are opting to run him, and they could run him in a couple of different manners, and they could play him from basically almost any zone in a couple of different manners. So obviously the most easy zone is from the hand. You just draw into him, you play him, that's it. But what a lot of decks have been trying to adopt and use is these putting the card into the drop zone, so that way they could figure out a way to salvage it back. So there's a couple of different cards in the game that allow you to just put cards into the drop zone, Rivals Forever being one of the easiest examples in Dragon World, where you literally just get to throw the card into the drop zone, and then you get some benefits on top of playing it. So it's just a very powerful card. On top of which, you have some cards in the game that salvage cards. So Red Thunder Emperor's Awakening is a very powerful salvaging card. Same thing with Dimension Ruin and a Ruler's Privilege. So basically just cards that allow you to salvage cards from your drop after putting them into the drop is the easiest way of getting him out. Now, he does have his own natural tutor in the form of Emblem of the Omnilords. So if the deck is allowed to play a lot of Gauge, then Emblem of the Omnilord is one of the easiest ways where you could literally just tutor the card out. So not only do you have these salvage cards and drop cards, you also have his own built-in tutor, which is, again, all very powerful because it just makes that one-of consistency basically almost non-existent. And what a lot of decks like to use with these salvaging cards is they will try to loop Burn Nova by putting him into the drop and then salvaging him back to the hand, and then putting him into the drop again, salvaging him back into the hand, so that way they could keep replaying him, so that way they could, just not lose the game almost indefinitely. Some decks are better at doing this type of a loop than others, but the fact that it is still a very powerful loop, and usually it only takes 1 or 2 times of looping this card to really just start devastating your opponent and making it very hard for them to come back from the game. So the interesting thing about what Burn Nova is effectively doing is he is basically almost like a take an extra turn card. Even though your opponent gets their own turn, it's the fact that they basically can't really interact with your board to an extent that makes it very, very hard for the opponent to deal with. So it basically is almost like buying you an extra turn, which is almost the same thing as take an extra turn. And as we've been seeing with Bushiroad's recent ban lists from July up until just recently, they're starting to really double down and focus on how easy are these take an extra turn cards to play and how powerful are they when they are actually played. So something like Electrodeities, where they might have a really good take an extra turn card, it's a little on the harder side to set up, and then Electrodeities doesn't necessarily have that big of an aggressive push to where it really makes it worthwhile, versus just playing something a little bit more consistent and overall more aggressive. But the point is like, how easy and effective are these take an extra turn cards of playing? Obviously, Bushiroad has been banning the ones that are very, very easy to play, but some of them are a little bit more difficult to play and haven't necessarily been banned because they're more difficult to play. But the fact that some of them are still in the game and they are still very, very powerful makes them definitely a thing to look out for or to watch for. But the fact that Burn Nova is a very easy card to play and very hard to interact with, and the fact that he is very easily recurable, he's very easily searchable, just all adds up to making him overall a very, very powerful and game-changing card. I really hope Bushi does think about banning this card in the future. I hope they think about banning future Card Buddyfight in the future, and I'm probably going to try to, in the same manner, highlight a couple of other cards that they should probably ban in the future to try to really iron out this final meta for the game, so that way it could be left in the most healthiest state as possible. That's kind of all I have for this video. As always, feel free to tell me your thoughts down in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content, and I will see you in the next video.